Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and today we're going to support some independent bookstores here in Montreal. So I've mentioned this quite a few times in a couple of videos, not to rehash it and not to re-rant, but due to some tariff situations occurring, local bookstores in Montreal could possibly be suffering over the next few months due to the fact that Quebec has the highest taxes on products in the country with an additional 20%. This can cause consumers to pay 45% more on books. This will obviously largely affect local bookstores as their profit margins dwindle due to this, unlike big corporate stores like Amazon or Indigo, for example. April is Independent Bookstore Day. I believe in Canada, I'm not sure if this is across North America, but in Canada specifically, it's Independent Bookstore Day. In the spirit of April having Independent Bookstore Day and wanting to support some local businesses, I decided to do a shop with me vlog. Because I have a newborn child with me, I am unable to travel to the different bookstores as I would like to. So I decided to instead do a virtual shopping spree. So the first bookstore that we will be visiting virtually is Pulp Bookstore here in the Verdun neighborhood of Montreal. This is one of my favorite bookstores. It is a cafe as well. I really think they're doing some interesting stuff here. I know that cafe bookstores are kind of normal in other cities that I've been to, like New York or Boston, but here in Montreal, they are sort of doing something different, especially within the English speaking community. I don't necessarily shop in the French bookstores in terms of English bookstores besides Indigo with Starbucks is. This is independent owned and an independent coffee shop as well. Now let's get into what I want to purchase. So while I'm shopping at Pulp Bookstore, because this is my favorite one, I tend to really buy my new releases here or books that I can't find anywhere else. So I know one of the first books I really want to buy is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. And they have a signed edition, which is really interesting, so I'm going to add that to the cart for sure. I have been really interested in John Green's nonfiction. I have The Apothecene, I think it is, reviewed. I haven't read that yet, but I do have goals to read it soon just because it is really intriguing to me. I have a degree in anthropology and sociology, so that aspect of studying society is really interesting to me. And this is taking a topic that I believe he discussed in that book to a wider level. In Everything is Tuberculosis, John tells Henry's story woven through the scientific and social histories of how tuberculosis has shaped our world and how our choices will shape the future of tuberculosis. From what I understand, we have the means to eradicate tuberculosis and we just choose not to every day. So I think that that could be really interesting. Another book that I have heard nothing but good things, and it is a Canadian author, is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El Akkad. This is really looking at what it means to live in a West that betrays its fundamental values. So it's talking about the bombardment of Gaza. El Akkad was an immigrant who came to the West believing in a promised freedom, a place of justice for all, but in the past 20 years reporting on the war on terror, Ferguson, climate change, Black Lives Matter protests, and more, and watching the unmitigated slaughter in Gaza, El Akkad has come to the conclusion that much of what the West promises is a lie. We are seeing that currently with the election that has been occurring in the United States, what it is doing specifically to Canada as well as the rest of the world. So I'm very interested in this book. I will definitely be adding it because I need to read this. It's very timely. It's by a Canadian author, so obviously I would like to support. The final book I would like to get is for our fantasy bingo slide. So I have looked at the other bookstores and they don't necessarily provide a way to buy this one except obviously Indigo and Amazon, but I would really like to buy Dawn by Octavia E. Butler for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo. If you watched my last Reddit video, you know that this is a bingo square that's created by the Reddit users on the fantasy subreddit. One of the bingo squares is to read a book in the 80s. Dawn by Octavia E. Butler is a sci-fi book written in the 80s. It is the first book in the Lilith's Brood series. Oh my gosh, that's so hard to say. So when Lilith Ayapo wakes from a centuries-long sleep, she finds herself aboard a vast spaceship of Oankali. She discovers that the Oankali, a seemingly benevolent alien race, intervened in the fate of humanity hundreds of years ago, saving everyone who survived a nuclear war from a dying, ruined Earth, and then putting them in a deep sleep. After learning all they could about Earth and its beings, the Oankali healed the planet, cured cancer, increased human strength, and they want Lilith to lead their people back to Earth, but salvation comes at a price. So this is a post-apocalyptic narrative that feels very timely again. So I will be adding this to the cart, and this is what I will be purchasing from Pulp Bookstore. The next bookstore I would like to help support is Le Galion. So this is a feminist bookstore located in the gay village of Montreal, and they obviously focus a lot on feminist literature, on LGBTQIA plus literature. When looking at what I want to purchase from this bookstore, I'm really focusing on either more feminist topics or LGBTQIA topics, or like obviously an enmeshment of the two. So a book I've been putting off that I would really like to get to is Page Boy by Elliot Page. Don't tell me it's out of stock. Oh, I just don't know how to spell. Elliot Page is a Canadian actor, so that is one of the reasons I would like to support him. This is obviously discussing Elliot's transition within the public eye, full of behind-the-scenes details and intimate interrogations on sex, love, and trauma. Page Boy is the story of a life pushed to the brink, but at its core, its beautifully written, winding journey of what it means to untangle ourselves from the expectations of others is an ode to stepping into who we truly are with defiance, strength, and joy. I've been really looking forward to reading this one. I just haven't bitten the bullet to purchase it. Definitely think buying it from here works the best. And another book that I would really like to purchase from this bookstore is The Lamb. This is a new release by Lucy Rose. It talks about two people named Margot and Mama who have lived in the forest ever since Margot can remember. When Margot is not at school, they spend quiet days together in their cottage, waiting for strangers to knock on the door. Strays, Mama calls them, who have strayed too far from the road. She feeds them wine, keeps them warm, then she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their bodies. I saw this as a recommendation for people who like Yellow Jackets. Obviously, this is a hyperfixation of mine right now. You would have seen this video after, like in regards to my plans of when I wanted to post this video, but now because I'm posting it early to coincide with Independent Bookstore Day, I have a video coming out about books like Yellow Jackets, and I realized that my selections for the books were definitely not queer enough and not feminist enough. They were definitely more just about cannibals. I wanted to fix that and purchase something that has more of those like feminist leaning themes. So those are the two books that I will be purchasing from Le Galion, and we will move into the next bookstore I will be supporting, which is Drawn and Quarterly. Drawn and Quarterly is a publisher as well as a bookstore here in the Mile End neighborhood of Montreal. So they really focus on graphic novels and children's books, but they also have new releases. So from them, I'm going to pick one children's book because obviously I have a son. There's a children's book that I would really like to purchase, and then two new releases that I would like to buy as well. When I have to buy, it's going to be my Professor Kelsey's book club, but we'll get there when we get there. So the first book I want to purchase, being a Brandon Sanderson fangirl, I absolutely have to buy The Most Boring Book Ever by Brandon Sanderson for my son. So this book is boring. We're telling you it's boring. It's the title of the book. In fact, it's the most boring book ever. Don't peek behind the cover, don't look at the pictures, and definitely don't follow along with the rip-roaring adventure the boy is experiencing. Stay focused on mundane things like sitting in chairs and doing homework. Any report of dragons or marauding airships is ridiculous. This book is boring. The next book I need to buy is Death of the Author by Nadia Korafor. This is the next book selection for the Professor Kelsey's book club. This is a book club I run with my friends Justin and Bobby, where we read books and we just like gab about them. So this is, I don't know if it's necessarily sci-fi. I think it is just a like literary novel that is a little sci-fi leaning in the storytelling aspect of the book. So this is a book within a book that blends the line between writing and being written. Death of the Author is a masterpiece of metafiction that manages to combine razor-sharp commentary of Yellowface, which I loved, with the heartfelt humanity of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I also loved. So this is about a Nigerian-American woman who pens a wildly successful sci-fi novel, but as her fame rises, she loses control of the narrative. A surprisingly cutty yet heartfelt drama about art and love, identity and connection, and ultimately what makes us human. The future of storytelling is here. Absolutely. And then I've been debating this one because I have a couple of Stephen Graham Jones books on my TBR that I have not read yet. Okay, listen, just stay with me here. I haven't read any Stephen Graham Jones before. However, I just think he's an author that I'm going to love. I just do. And this release came out in paperback, and I'm feeling like I could do a little taste test, you know, like Stephen Graham Jones taste test, and read all the books on my TBR together in one video. And that to me sounds perfect. The reason I absolutely want to read this one is because I've heard that it's about vampires. So that's all I need to know. There we go. And then the last bookstore I would really like to support is the Argo Bookshop in the downtown area of Montreal. It is located next to my old university, Concordia. And Concordia is one of the two English universities in the Montreal area. And it is the more like, I don't want to say progressive one, but it's definitely the one that has a lot more political science interests, sociological interests. Basically, there's more protests there. And I obviously want to support the bookstore nearest them, where we're looking at like discussions on society, what's going on, how we can fix things at a societal level. So the first book I would really like to get is on tyranny. This is a book that I learned about the other day, and it's 20 Lessons from the 20th Century by Timothy Snyder. So the founding fathers tried to protect us from the threat they knew, the tyranny that overcame ancient democracy. Today, our political order faces new threats, not unlike the totalitarianism of the 20th century. We are no wiser than the Europeans who saw democracy yield to fascism, Nazism, or communism. Our one advantage is that we might learn from their experience. He's way more optimist than I am, so I would like to see what he has to say, the optimism that he shines. And then the last book I would like to purchase for this video, the last book I would like to purchase from the Argo bookshop, is something that I want to see just spontaneously, either like from their bestsellers, Canadian specific books. So let's see what they have available. Oh, we have a book from our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, about values building a better world for all. I am reluctantly voting for the Liberals, I will say it, because I would rather vote for a party that cares more about like environmental issues, obviously, but in the fear of rising capitalism, rising billionaires, and rising fascism, I'm gonna vote for the party that will most likely win, that will not make the Conservatives win. I could order One Day Everyone Will Always Have Been Against This from here, and that way we have 2 books from every store. Let's see if there's something else available that I would like to get. Ugh. I was interested in this one actually. This one, Canada Reads this year as well, which is why I had heard about it. It's following the harrowing memories of life and abuse in a remote Ojibwa community. Mani Chakabi's extraordinary story is one of enduring and ultimately overcoming the social and economical legacies of colonialism. Oh, damn. She's won awards. I think I'll get this one actually instead. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a short little video. I will be purchasing all of these now and can't wait for them all to come in the mail. Before this video ends, I just want to give you a reminder to support your local economy, support independent bookstores, and support local businesses, especially during trying times like these. April 26th, don't forget, Independent Bookstore Day, at least here in Canada. But that's it for this video. If you have read any of the books I will be purchasing, please let me know down below what you thought about them. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know. If you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. Of course, if you can tell by the vibe of this video, I am very, very, very anti-oligarchs right now. And because billionaires are dipping their toes into every single thing we consume, I might not have those social medias for very long. However, if they're down below, you can follow me, whatever. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It does wonders for my channel. It makes me feel really good. And that's it. I never know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye.